Hey, this is Tears of Skovrane. We're
Mhm.
doing some Bonds playtesting today. And David made a gorgeous map of the Hellbreaker base, which I'm excited to figure out what's going on at. This will be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
forward to
David,
it.
you want to
Thank
give
you.
a very, very brief explanation of Bonds and why we're doing this in the first place?
Yeah, so Bonds is a sort of narrative focused RPG rule set based on the idea of making, adapting whatever kind of setting or whatever kind of character into it, uh, and giving you sort of the tools to realize that in a flexible way. So we are giving that a test. I have a tendency to change things pretty rapidly, so we need to do this as often as possible. And our buddies weren't available to do the heroes in training or
Crow Inquisitors.
thank you. My brain just like um here we are. Excuse me.
And it's, Liar's Bar isn't quite as fun with just two people, so
True. Yes, true. And as much as I enjoy Liar's Bar, I this is a thing that is I need more than I do
this is
cards.
more necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because uh, can't. I make a lot of changes based on gut instinct after just having thought about things enough. But that's a dangerous thing to do with a game. The best thing to do is to play it and then
Yeah.
make changes based on that.
Yep.
So, yeah. Alrighty. So
Yeah, so last time we had just gotten back to the base after tramping around in the jungle, being chased
yeah,
by zombies.
you were on an overlook, presumably somewhere down here in like the mountainous area, because I described you as being on a sort of like a cliff. And which I now realize that these are like sideways mountains and everything else is top down. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
It just looks like big ridges like jutting out over the
Yeah. Okay, that's it. So excuse me. Real quick before we jump into it, did we want to talk about your goals for
Yes,
your time in the city?
Yep, you had said that like you had thoughts on or like had stuff to tell me about what is going on in the city and what is at these different places, and
Yeah,
that
so
would maybe help figure out what I want to accomplish while I'm here.
I know what the places are. And then I have a couple characters that you might interact with in these different places, and basically it'll still be based on what you want to do, but maybe the ideas that are there might give you some direction. So I'll just go top to bottom real quick. This is a civilian sector that was not originally intended, but basically the size of the military presence here has attracted regular people.
And the time that we've been here, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there are just regular people living here now, like merchants and traders, whatever. This is a warehouse sector.
Mostly some from Skovrane or from the
Probably a
Hellbreaker
little
worlds.
bit of both. I imagine most of them are Hellbreakers, just because this is a very sensitive place.
Those would be the people who would be able to get in.
Exactly, yeah. Not a lot of people, I imagine, come in through the front gate unless they also left the front gate, right? Like, this is over here is a warehouse district basically for the and like probably factories and stuff. I don't know. It's just industrial stuff for the anything. This is, I guess, like a lighthouse, sort of like that's what the image for the picture was. I'm not sure exactly what that is. I just put it there for fun. This is like sort of the
Some
port.
sort of beacon.
Yeah, this is like a port thing here. This is important. I don't know what it is. This is. I imagined it was probably like a power station or like a facilities station, basically, right?
Sure.
This here is probably like a kind of like a fort, basically like a military installment, right? That was there before everything else had developed, unless you had a different idea for it.
Well, I mean, the actual token you chose, it looks like it's a little like a manor with a courtyard.
Oh
That
yeah, I
seems
guess
like
it
a
does.
courtyard with a fountain. So it could be like a important person's house or something.
That's fair. Go with that. This is like a Coliseum type thing, which I think is literally what it is, right? It's for like training and so
Okay, for training. I was like, wait, we do like gladiator games. All of our prisoners go in there.
right, yeah. These are the military barracks and the training yards and some like a couple warehouses for supplying them. These are like larger, more industrial factories and warehouses and stuff again, but for like military purposes. This is all the oldest part of the city, right? Like the base right here because it was all built first, right? When it was all military stuff. Um, and I suppose the docks and lighthouse probably there. Then this is the actual
the Sacred Grove thing.
Grove.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously its influence spreads through the entire area, but this is where the actual Serene Choir live.
Mm-hmm.
They have these
like angel
ghostly,
dryads or whatever. Yeah,
they have these weird ghostly structures, right? Then down here is the slums. This was originally just woods, and basically you've had enough. Not really slums. It's like a refugee camp, right? You've had enough stuff go on that people from Skovrane have needed help.
Skovrane have come, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you've put them sort of where you had space. And you know, a lot of stuff is fenced off, and that probably wasn't the case until the civilian sector and more likely probably the slum sector or whatever, you know, the refugee sector cropped up. This is the gardens. This is where they grow a lot of the stuff you eat that can be eaten by human beings here. I think that their name. I'm confused sometimes.
Is there a reason why it's red?
Yeah, all the plants are red. Yeah, it's like basically a solid field of red, like floral, like plants, but they're used for food.
Okay.
So that whole thing is basically like a giant flower field, kind of in the same way that you might have like a cornfield, but it's got buildings structured around it. But why can't I find? I guess it's cultivators. The cultivators, yeah. The cultivators and the new flesh are probably some of the people who helped you develop this.
Yeah,
because they're obviously very familiar with this sort of thing. Then this is like a manor. Basically, they're rich people's like apartment complexes almost, right? They have this kind of like gated, not literally gated, but well, they have this sort of almost gated community. I actually meant to put a fence here. I forgot to do that. So there should be a fence here. I think I might have actually deleted it on accident. So we'll pretend there's a fence here because they wouldn't just have an open walking into the.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like a noble quarter basically, right? And then this is like these are scientific buildings. This is a astrologer's lab. This is probably like this is like for growing. This is like the herbology place,
lab,
right?
Yeah.
And we have little like installations for growing the plants. And then this is probably like a research station generally. Just
yeah.
Like
so noble quarter being like Hellbreaker, like 12-lings.
Yeah. Any 12-lings that live here either live there or they live up here on the main platform. This is the fortress, right? The first thing that was built, they just dropped a base here, right? This is where all the military commanders are.
Is this where the Arab Gates platform is?
Yes, that is the Arab Gates platform. And then this is, I imagined, kind of like a private space for like anybody who would normally live in this place. And sort of like a bathhouse kind of thing, but not literally.
Yeah.
And then, I think
sweet.
That's all of it. So those are the places that are here, in case those give you any ideas of what you might want to do while you're here. You also have a decent amount of injuries. You're pretty severely injured, actually, and you have a fungal infection, and you're strained.
I'm severely burned.
Yeah, actually, I think you have 2 acuity marked. I think you're more than strained. I think what was the next one on that? I don't even remember where I put those. Everything's a little scattered now because I've been making notes. I have these phases in bonds development where I have like all the new things in their own documents, and then it's hard for me to like that builds up and builds up, and then I'm like, okay, I go in and I just compress it all back into the main document, or like rewrite the main document usually, and then it's all in one place again, and then it slowly
slowly disseminates
builds again. Yeah. So I'm just trying to remember where I had put that information. Maybe I did put it in the main, just like a note. I did, but I didn't finish putting it there. It's only half written. All right, I know I have it here. Sorry.
Yeah.
So did you have any ideas off the top of your head for goals for your character sheet?
Get healed.
That's fair. Yeah, recover. We can do that.
Yeah, I should take a look at my traits and make sure that those are all in mind when I make these. Relationship traits, I'll keep the men under my command safe. Is there... Who's my, like, commanding officer here in...
Oh, yeah, that's what I figured. I forgot to generate
wherever
names.
this is called.
Yeah, so there is... So, I mean, there obviously is the 12 link. What's his... I guess he's actually a 12. What's my character's... My Hellbreaker, like... patriarch. What was his name again? What do we call him?
Oh, I think Dallas is the name we've been...
Okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure.
I had a thought though.
Sure.
Since now would be the time to start changing things if we wanted to change things, because I'm gonna actually write a novel in this setting and do like the 2.0 version of stuff. One name that we had when we tried to figure out like what Dallas was, the etymology of Dallas at the beginning of this campaign of Tears of Skovrane. One thing that actually came up as let's see, let me find it again, was oh, now it's escaping me. No, that's not what I want at all. You would probably have several different variations on the name, to be fair.
Sure.
Something about when we were looking up the etymology, we came across Dallas, and I don't know exactly what spelling of that we looked up, but that's an actual Greek name as opposed to Dallas, which is just kind of made up whatever. I don't know if you have a preference for it, like but I wanted to posit it or offer that to you if we do want to change that guy's name instead of the first D&D character you ever made.
I'm fine with that. Maybe we can say Dallas if you want.
Dallas is kind of fun. You probably have variations on it anyway, given who knows you and where.
Sure, yeah.
But Dallas feels a little bit more like, I think it fits the rest of the names a little bit better. Like Xanatos and Citus are the other names. Dallas feels like it fits those two a little bit better.
It should be.
And also, given the part of it is like Dallas is so ingrained in my brain as that one swashbuckler character from
right. Yeah, no, that's fine.
And then also at least the version of the character you burned up the other day or the other year when you wanted to make the character, he was like you had like Sean Bean playing him, and he has this Zweihander, and like Dallas feels like a little bit like like stronger of a name for that character, right? Yeah,
that's true. Not quite as flowery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that works for me.
So is that like my commanding officer? Do I report directly to him?
No, so probably not. I was going to say that he's there, obviously, but then there is a person who is in charge when he's not there, which is probably often. His name, as I've just generated, is Elias.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, the 12 are definitely the people who are the most powerful and are brought in to deal with the most dangerous things and have to like rule the whole Hellbreaker Society, and yeah, they have lots of stuff to do. So
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, I imagine that this was his particular pet project is Skovrane, but yeah, I'm sure he leaves and does other things because otherwise he would be able to do everything.
Yeah, and also whenever a Titan pops up, right? He's
that's true.
Yeah,
just and other places in Skovrane too. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think his presence is also a big reason why, even though the infection is over a large percentage of the planet, they don't just overrun this place, because actually fighting a battle in Dallas's presence is really difficult, because his power just makes the injuries that you inflict hurt you.
Right, I forgot.
And so it's like you can't really assault the place that he is very accurately, very effectively. So obviously he's not here all the time, and I'm sure that they've tried to attack when he was gone, right?
But that's what the air gates is for.
Yeah, exactly.
We probably have a mini choir here to summon him back if we need him.
Well, we have the Serene Choir too, which probably helps.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we figured out something to do with that. I do know. I mean, we do know that the at least the Forgotten Heralds from the Hellbreaker sequence series 1 had song magic as well, right? Like they were in it. But I think that may have been partially because they were on Boston, which has the song magic stuff. But if anyone else had access to that sort of thing, it would probably be angels.
Right. Yeah. True.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot that your character had the thing where like no one can fight, and it's so fun. I love it.
Yeah. Which is also one of the reasons why he's not like the most offensive of them, presumably of the original 12, because his powers, like, you can't hurt me, but also like he can only hurt other people within the own power of his, like, within the own strength of his magic or whatever.
So he's like
special ability doesn't do anything there.
Yeah, one-on-one combatant. Like you just send him after the Titan all by himself, and then that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he's basically there to make sure the Titan doesn't like crush everybody. Right. But yeah, because I don't know how much offensive power the 12 can generate without like their cloak being specifically about that, right? And we haven't really gone into that.
I mean, there's still battle songs and just general like
obviously they're still
Hellbreaker
dangerous.
Stuff. Yeah, they're definitely
these
very
are
dangerous.
Huge giants. So I don't know.
Yes, they've lived 1,000 years, so they definitely have power. But
right,
I'd like to think that each of us have our own particular strengths and weaknesses and things we focused on. It is definitely fine if you want your character to be a little bit more about protecting than actually attacking. That may be an arc you go on in the actual origin story, because it sounds like you're a little bit more of a offensive character with a giant Zweihander to begin with. But
true, I don't think I built him that way, right? But yeah,
but I mean that could certainly be a fun. Like, because I think like your character originally was like the son of the general of the kingdom or something, right? And like was, I think you were definitely involved in the military and stuff.
Which, to be fair, if your power makes you functionally invincible, like as far as being killed goes, then that's probably not true. I'm sure there's boundaries to it, but then it makes sense to focus on offense, because you don't really need to focus on defense, right?
Yeah, right. So, like I'm pretty sure Xanatos' cloak allows him to like rise from the dead after he's been killed, right? Like it has like the resurrection cloak, so he just like has multiple lives over and over again.
That's cool.
Yeah, that facilitates me being incredibly reckless, as
right. There you go.
My character likely is. It's like, it's fine, I'll resurrect. I believe Connor's cloak was going to. I asked him about that a while ago, and he said he wants to be able to like know everyone's motivations and secrets. Basically, he can like see into everyone's.
Oh, he can read people's minds.
No one can lie to him.
Wasn't his 12 or no, the 4 Horsemen character like that?
Yeah, he adapted that. Yep.
Cool.
So very penetrating gaze.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And I don't know about Zerd yet. I know he's going to be an assassin, but that's about it.
Nice.
I don't know what. I may have asked him at some point, but I don't think I wrote it down.
I feel like we've gained and lost a lot of that information over time.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So Elias, guy I need to talk to. I was thinking of adding another relationship trait for him, since he's likely the other person that.
That makes sense, right?
Because I will keep the men under my command safe, which is about all the other scouts.
Mhm.
And I could have like a relationship trait for Kai specifically, but I don't have any particular ideas there. So I figured whatever the relationship with my commanding officer is might be important.
Mhm.
You have any ideas as to like how that relationship is? Like, what is he a good guy to be under his command?
Let's find out. Oh goodness, which tab is this? Oh, I think I might have closed it. Great. Let's see. Sorry. I mean, I think if he was bad, he wouldn't have his job anymore.
Right.
Dallas probably isn't afraid to be like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Which is maybe a complaint for Dallas. I think he probably has kind of a what I say goes kind of mentality where he'll be like,
Of course,
like there's probably protocol for a lot of the stuff that he'll just hand wave often in favor of whatever he thinks makes sense.
of course, yeah. I like to think that like your clerks and generals and all the like structure in your command has like very like tight protocols and like has developed like a long history of like here's how the military comes and does things, and then you just pop in and you're like no that's dumb.
Like I literally wrote that. I'm just gonna say not right now.
Right? No, yeah, exactly. You're the one who wrote half of it too, and you're just like nah, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Like I don't think I wrote. Did I? That's probably happened more than once.
That's fine.
So let's see. Very briefly here. So he is. We'll see if I actually like these results. Some of them probably not. He is arrogant. That's great. And I didn't look at the number. That helps.
I kind of assumed that he was going to be just by virtue of the type of character we know from fiction. Yeah,
sure. Yeah, he's got a role to fulfill. That's true. He is arrogant and observant.
Okay. And I'm now thinking about how all the other of the main Hellbreakers deal with authority and stuff, and I'm thinking like you would make rules and then disregard them. Jared would have very exact rules that everyone has to follow, or else like they're in huge trouble because he's made a perfect law code. Right. Actually, and that might be. I actually don't know how Connor would do it, but I would do it where it's like, no, it's just principles. Like we don't have any specific rules. It's just here's the principles to follow.
There is no
the spirit of it.
Yeah, there is no rule of the law. It's just the spirit of the law. Exactly. Yeah, neat. Yeah, that's fun. Let's see.
It's the same impulse that leads you to change the bonds system every 5 seconds. You're like, yeah, actually, I don't know if that law was the good idea. Let's change it.
Yeah, it's like I think laws are important, but they also
it's like we're in the middle of a court case right now where this person's being prosecuted.
Like, clearly, this is the wrong outcome. Clearly, something's wrong. We're gonna workshop it. Yeah. Yeah. So at any rate, I guess we should start playing. It's 9:16.
Yeah.
So that was fun though. It helps the nail stuff down.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I guess we were talking about your goals. That's what.
Yeah. So, relationship trait. Yeah. Elias. I don't know. I guess he's arrogant and observant. It's probably like I don't like him, but I have to. Like I begrudgingly respect him, and
sure.
Like he's very what's the word I'm looking for? He can see things that I can't, right?
Mm-hmm. He's competent. He's just a jerk, right? Yeah. Which is probably the reason he's still around, right? Like,
yeah. Elias can see things that I cannot. So he has my begrudging respect. Let's put it that way for now, and we can have that evolve from there. So then goals, I have be a good leader without just being noble as one of the things I've been working on. Team, what's the like scout team or what's the thing on the horizon for that? Do I need to like report back and figure out something? Do I need to touch base with the researchers? What would actually what would be the next step for my mission, right? Like mission debrief and stuff. Who do I
probably both, right? You probably want to tell your you probably want to debrief Elias, and then he would probably tell you to go talk to the researchers, right? I assume.
Okay, let me do, I think I'll do team goal of like debrief from our mission without revealing my debrief from our mission without
you just have your infection, and you did kind of like lean into it to use discordic energy instead, right? So you're trying to probably
exactly debrief from our mission without implicating myself. Right, I need to find a way to make sure they don't know. Like, no, this random demon just touched me out of nowhere. I didn't do anything.
I'm fine. This is fine.
Be a good leader without just being a noble, and then probably, I mean, honestly, it could just be right. Like it could be get healing for my ailments. Right, recover.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So in terms of the places, then I need to go. Right. I need to probably go to commanding officer stuff over here. I need to go to the researchers over here. And where would I get healed? The Serene Choir.
Good question.
Do they have magical healing?
Let's see. For a boon. They sort of do. I don't know that they employ it very regularly, right? Because they don't want to encourage people to just wander around in their grove. But I think one of the things, actually I have it in my notes here, that one of their abilities was they can cure any disease or malady within their purified groves.
Oh, really? Nice.
Which is probably not as literal as it says it is. But yeah, they have a lot of power there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Island of Apples. You invest the land with your divine power.
Because that's how they made the groves in the first place, right? Like those. I guess the idea was that they had the ability to remove corruption, which I guess they could do to you too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna go talk to the grove. Because probably this is like Zion also feeling guilty now, and he doesn't he basically what he wants to do is he wants to confess to the angels without having to confess to his superior officers, right? So he's gonna go to them and be like, guys, I messed up. I'm really sorry. Please, can you heal me? I won't do it again. I promise.
That's funny.
But this is not the healthy way to go about it. He really should just tell them I'm being tempted by the Discordia. Help! Don't let me. I should submit myself for reprimand, but instead I'm gonna keep that hidden.
So are you going to pass up Elias entirely, or?
Oh no! I'm gonna debrief. So my plan is going to be go to Elias, debrief from our mission. Do not tell him about the malady that I gained. Just tell him about the stuff we learned, and then he'll redirect me to the researchers. I'll go to them. Give them the information they need without implicating myself again with that I have some sort of weird Discordia thing. And then after that, go to the grove and be like, "Hey, help!" So
sounds good. All right,
and that'll be my 3 goals.
All right. Sounds good. So yeah, we pick back up with the mountains in the near distance now, and Zion and his Kai and his troop of scouts. I don't know why that. Is moving quickly towards the the main gate. And I don't think that the barrier is probably up right now, because I don't know why it would be, right? Like,
right. I think you described that like the big pylons are there, or the big pyramids or whatever they are.
Yeah, they're like pylons.
Polyhedron, I think is what it was.
Right. Yeah.
They aren't active. They're just kind of like laying there floating or whatever they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So they're sort of like I imagine them sort of like as obelisks, right? Punctuating the thing, and they have like sort of a polyhedra floating above them.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's one large sort of double obelisk with, this is a gate, right?
Yeah.
And it has sort of similar technology inside of it to make sort of a laser gate as well. But yeah, it's all currently off. So you can kind of just walk in wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's still pretty traditional for people to use the main gate just because it's, it's people don't want to doing sneaking in the back door. So we see you guys head up to the main gate and it's open, so you move through. And I think we see
a very bedraggled group of scouts.
Yeah. Kai, who's probably been scuffed up a little bit. He doesn't have an actual character sheet to have damage on, but he looks up at the gate and he's like, "Glad to see this old thing," and just waits for everyone to pass through. And
yeah. I think I say, Kai, how are you holding up?
By the looks of things, better than you. You should probably get that looked at. Gestures like.
Yeah, I say I'm fine. I'll be okay. What was I gonna say? So I say, I'm the one who commanded you. I'm the one who ordered you to jump into the jaws of death. It's good that I took the brunt of it.
Well, it's our job. That's what scouts are for.
I say, make sure that you and your men get the rest you need. I'll let you know if I need you further, but for now, recover. I'll give our mission report to Elias and go from there.
Thank you, sir. I'll let the men know. And then, we see you guys walking between rows of barracks buildings. Everything here is made out of sort of like really smooth, kind of like, it's a little like concrete and a little like stone, right? It's sort of hard to tell what it's made out of because it's kind of too smooth to be. I guess it could be like worked stone or marble, right? Everything's sort of like that, with sort of like a gray slate, like different textures sort of in it. And it's all sort of, it's like, science fantasy Magitech, right? So the doors are all kind of like, you can barely see the outline to the door. You just kind of like swipe something and it slides out somewhere magically, right? So it's sort of strange looking to us as we walk through because we, there's just not a lot of detail in a lot of the buildings we would expect. And we see in the distance a hill, and on top of that, a large tiered, sort of like squat, but still tall, but just a lot wider than it is tall, command structure. So I assume that's probably where Elias would be, or it's probably the safe assumption, right?
At the very least, I could find him by going there and asking around.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. So I think after the scouts kind of like break off from me and go to the barracks and stuff, I definitely like slump slightly. I was trying to keep myself standing tall. And I slump and probably like even like drag my cloak off my shoulders for a moment and just like, finger it and kind of rub a thumb across it and just like I'm thinking and walking along. And eventually I get back, I get close to the building and clasp it back on and kind of like brush off some random fungus or whatever from my clothing and then make my way inside.
Then in the distance by the gate, we see a giant winged beast drop off a giant dead hump of flesh out and mushroom growth outside of fungal growth. That's what I was looking for. Outside of the gate, and then just flies away. um,
Do we have any long-term communication capabilities?
I'm sure there's something. Yeah.
Okay, I would have let someone know that we were dropping this off so that they can.
Sure.
So we see maybe some Hellbreakers who were like maybe around the same area that maybe Kai talked to briefly while we were in the barracks area. Then rush out and start like securing it and whatnot.
Yeah, I think there's probably like a communication device you have that has like a literally different, like, instead of having different frequencies, if you hum a different note, it'll like attune to a certain like frequency from that, and then you can speak to anybody who's hummed that same frequency into the
oh, that's perfect.
into the stone.
Yep.
Cool.
It's just literally radio.
It's
magical song radio.
Yeah, magical song radio. There you go. Yeah, so we see you on as you ascend the steps up the hill. We see that sort of almost like a luxury building, kind of compared to any other building you've seen so far, on the right, and sort of a portal on the left. Hey, sweetie. Right. A giant sort of, I mean, I guess I don't know if we've discussed a lot about how the air gates platforms look, or what that would be, but you see a large arch and then a platform for teleportation beyond it, and in front of you is
I think the only thing is that basically it is right, the Air of Gates is a song that asks what is beyond the door, right, and you can know, and so it's kind of like a more mystical, powerful version of that, where you're like, what is beyond the door? My friends that are coming right now, right? Like, and like, I think this has to be built, like, before it was like the center, the nexus of all that was the whatever we called it in Azimuth, the vortex or whatever.
Right.
But I assume by this point we've found a way to.
To control that.
Some sort of control building that like connects to that. Maybe we broke off a piece of it, or something like that. And now, we basically have, like, I think Azimuth is still the hub, right? You have to go through the hub to, but like each of these little local portals go to Azimuth.
Yeah, all roads lead to Azimuth. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Because it was the heart of Azimuth was where all those branching roads are from.
And that's one of the reasons that the Hellbreaker Society works the way it does, is like, it's not just that, and like interstellar travel works the way it does right now. This is one of the only reliable ways to do this. And so the Hellbreakers strictly control this sort of travel.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Because otherwise, you're literally you're going to their city. So
right, yeah,
you're not allowed to show up here unless you have the proper paperwork or whatever, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but there are other ways to travel. We talked about in We Below the what was it, the rhyme of unraveling, where you like unravel space and can jump around. But that's like not a good thing to do. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. All right. So, you just head straight for Elias, right?
Yep. Wherever he is, or asking around.
So we see you come in and like I said, swipe your hand and like a discolored stone in front of it, and sort of a piece of the stone sinks back and up or whatever. And inside of that we see a very sort of stately, pristine, again, mostly stone, but the stone inside is like colored and more interesting to look at than the outside was. And it's probably like an administrative center in that you first walk into, and the person behind the desk says, "Oh, hi, Zion, you're back. Wow, you look rough."
I've felt better, but I think Elias wanted to see me. We've just returned from our mission to secure information on how to kill how to kill the Titans. We brought one back too. Though I guess are the Titans different than the gods? Or
yeah, the Titans are the dead versions of them, right? I suppose. Right.
Right. Well, I guess my question is, the things that we needed to figure out how to kill, that's not the thing that we just killed, right?
No, what you killed, remember, was a Malavim, and
well, what about the new one? Oh, right. The one that we already killed was what we grabbed. Okay. For some reason, like at one point, you described a like tall hulking zombie in the fight that we had, and for some reason, that's just like a big guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's just a big Tannerin. Yeah, like a powerful.
For some
Tannerin
reason, I forgot that the Malavim was like the thing that we had.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the other big guy showed up because the Malavim, Tannerin Spore inside the Malavim was like, help me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I understand what happened now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, basically, we killed an angel. We need to kill a god now. So yeah, basically, I just tell him, yeah, we secured like a corrupted Malavim for study as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, do you want me to send Elias to the medical facilities? Maybe you should debrief him there.
No, I'll be fine. This should be short.
Okay. All right. Well, he's in his study right now. So the study, I suppose, it's probably not his. Yeah. So, or yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Just let him know I'm coming, please.
Okay, we'll do. Yeah, we see her sort of messing with the same kind of
crystal.
Yeah, pick up a crystal and hum into it. Yeah. And then as you're walking down the hall, we hear, he's back. He's on his way. And we see you turn down a hall. You see a few other like a few other like labeled offices as you're walking by, just different facilities and different fishing areas. So these are all military officials, which I imagine is the majority of them on this planet. So you have like logistics offices and stuff like that. And then at the end we see a larger open arch, and into that is like a kind of like a war room looking room that opens up. Is a large table with like the 3D raised probably like hologram-ish kind of representation of Skovrane, right? Or at least the surrounding area.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to get rid of it. There we go. Ignore that ping. It just the menu wouldn't go away. Behind it we see. I'm curious, how does aging work for Hellbreakers? Because they're immortal. Are they just?
Yes, we've described this before. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind about Hellbreakers is that it is more like. So I've been reading rereading one of my childhood favorite fantasy series recently, the Belgariad, very classic fantasy. But there are like immortal sorcerers in that, and one of the things that the main guy Belgarath, who's like the Gandalf of the story, he says basically we live as long as we need to, and that sentiment I think is definitely true about Hellbreakers in a sense, where basically the actual age that they can get to is kind of determined by like the sovereign will of God and right, like obviously that's just generally true, but like the fact that like the 12 have lived so long is less about all Hellbreakers can live forever and more these particular people are very important and need and have a lot to do, right? They're like the 12 apostles or whatever, right? Who have like a bunch of stuff they need to get done, and when that's finished, they will rest. Sort of is the idea, right?
Sure.
But then in terms of the aging, like I think whatever that thing that ultimate age is, right, like that they can get to, it's like a so say they live 1,000 years, you're going to reach your peak, like 18 to 25, around the same age, 18 to 25.
Right.
And then from then on, let's say 25 to actually being like 80 and 90 looking, that's stretched out over that 1,000 years. So that by the time you're 500, you're like 50. By the time you're 900, you're 90, right?
That's interesting because you could literally observe someone for a year and be like, you will die in this amount of time. If it's a set percentage of aging, right?
I think it's a little bit less clear than that, but the idea is that over their lifespan, they're going to slowly become more. I think probably the apostles, the 12, are the rare case where it's kind of unclear how long they're going to live,
Right.
because where everyone else, it does seem like they age at like a similar rate.
Okay.
But
Sure.
just stretched out over the
they age really slowly,
years
basically.
Yeah, they age really slowly, but they do age. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's probably middle aged in appearance, right? And you see him sitting, or I guess standing behind that elevated table and interacting with some kind of he'll like rub his finger on the stone and something will change on the display. And he hears you walk in and looks up, says, are you all right, Zion?
Does he? What does he actually look like? Does he have like dark hair? Does he have?
Yeah, and he's got kind of like a pale blonde hair and like a pale beard. Like he's kind of not necessarily graying, but like kind of going white almost. But he's still got some blonde in his hair. He's pretty. I think he's probably a pretty tall guy, not like super broad, but still well muscled. He's still a military guy, and
what do people wear too while like they're here,
Sure.
as opposed to out in the field?
Yeah, there's like a military dress uniform, right? So he's wearing probably like a gray and blue like military dress, like probably more along the lines of like a colonial era uniform. Probably not as much of like a long coat with like sharp lines, but it's probably like folded over one side, right? And that's obviously just what they wear as like a dress uniform. It's not the combat uniform. And you know that the conventional military troops wear heavier armor than the scouts. And there are shock troops that wear like basically power armor, right? And he's one of that, or was one of them before he got into the station he's in now as commanding officer. So we might even, well, he probably isn't wearing it. It's probably not in this room, but I think he actually might be wearing like a sort of like a plug suit, right? Kind of like an Under Armour for wearing that kind of power armor. So I think we see under his like dress jacket is kind of like almost like a pilot suit, right? Like a skin suit, I guess. He just seems to wear a lot just because he's used to it. But yeah, so he nods to you and he's like, "Oh, are you all right?" You look a little worse for wear.
I felt better, but I'll get rest and I'll get some rest soon.
All right, let's see what you do. How did the mission go?
Well, as well as I could have expected, given the region we were entering. We managed to secure the Titan for study, and I was able to learn, I think, something rather important about its makeup. But time will tell whether or not it will be useful to us.
So did the Tanner and Spores survive? Actually, I don't even know.
What happened to it?
Yeah, I assume they knew that there's Tanner and Spores in them. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. What did happen? Did you squirm away?
You killed it. That's how you found out that you could like capture
I
its
kind of trapped some of its smoke in like a song,
and it broke out. But yeah, you could tell that
there was resistance there. Yeah. So I say after we did some after I did some study in the field on it, we because I could just say we killed it, but also we all know that they come back. So I'm trying to think if there's another word.
Sure.
We
banished it, or
yeah, I banished it.
let's see. Now we haven't had a lot of interaction with Malavian corpses being used, as you know. So was there anything different about it than? I mean, I'm sure you'll compile a proper report, but
Of course.
for the moment, I'd like to know if there was anything unusual about it, anything we can relate to the Titans themselves, the Malavian corpses.
Yeah, I think I say we were able to burn off some of the corruption and to the Malavium shell beneath. It seemed like it was still inherently harmonic somehow. I believe that this is how they're managing to resist our weapons so easily. Maybe that was something we already knew, but
no, that was something.
Okay, yeah. Inside that was the Tannerin spore, the polyp. When I banished him, I attempted to capture the essence in some hard light using a song. It seemed to imprison it for a time. There may be something there that the researchers can do to maybe some implication of that resistance that was offered by my song that we might be able to use in the future to permanently keep them here. I don't relish having a prison of hard light full of demons, but that may be our best option.
Interesting. Certainly a start. Strange, you say they seemed to still be harmonic, the corpses?
The corpse itself remained harmonic, which I don't quite understand. It does, from my own research into the Malavim, their bodies are generated because of their connection to the planet and discarded once the spirit moves on. I didn't know that the corpse itself had some sort of harmonic resonance.
Yeah, that is strange. Though I know that Skovrane itself, the arcane here, does some strange things, but we hadn't known that. That's good information. I would relay that to the researchers. Maybe they can make more of it than I can, but I'm going to look into some things.
I was planning on it, sir.
Of course. Did we sustain any casualties?
As far as I know, we didn't.
I don't think so. We didn't narrate anybody being killed. I think like people got, roughed up and stuff like that, but I don't think anybody got killed.
I think I say, well, I guess the word casualty kind of includes injuries, right? Because in it fatalities that are.
I don't know. I always thought casualty meant like someone died, but I think I might have been wrong about that.
I think that's actually what it.
It says a person
injured or killed. Yeah,
injured or killed.
Yeah. So I say.
And you didn't end up spending any stress on it, so asset stress. So like nothing severe, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I say several injured, but they'll pull through. I think I got the worst of it.
Well, I could see that. You should probably report to the medical wing.
I plan on it.
Of course. All right. Thank you, Zion. Dismissed.
Yes, sir.
And there's probably a medical station in this building for like officers and stuff like that, right? Like the nicest one. There's probably also like medical facilities, in the
near the barracks and stuff.
Yeah, near the barracks stuff, just generally, but they're probably not quite as fancy.
I ignored them and walked to the research station.
Okay, nice. Actually, and did we want to your infection is on your like arm, right? I think was that visible? It must have been because we described it a couple of times, right? So if it wasn't visible originally,
I was hoping I'd be able to get through that without having to make a roll, but
right.
That's kind of the game we're playing. So.
Yeah. Do we see as you're speaking to him any effort to hide that? I assume.
Yeah.
Or what does that look like?
I roll up my sleeve, or I roll down my sleeves. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what. You know what? I think it's the thing where I took off my cloak. I'll just say that I'm still fingering my cloak, and so I have it like draped over my arm, and it looks like I'm just like rubbing a thumb across the cloak just as like man, that was crazy, like just kind of I needed that off my shoulder sort of a thing. But that's the inconspicuous role I'm basically making here, right? To like
all right,
not
cool.
make it clear that my arm is infected.
Sounds good. So We've got let's see. I think you could argue either finesse or manipulate for that. Probably finesse. That makes sense to you, I think. Is the most reasonable. About movement and sort of grace, as it were. Manipulate would be the lying, but you have one in both. So,
what was the other one? Finesse and
manipulate, I think, would make sense too, because that's the deception one, right? Like you're trying to redirect his attention, right?
Yeah, I could see either.
They're one for both. So it doesn't really matter.
Does it matter with acuity, for example? Like if I failed the finesse roll, is there a chance that like my acuity will get more stress on it?
Not currently. I've gone back and forth on that, but yeah, I don't think so. But if you use, you could spend stress to make the roll better with presence. You just could do that with acuity too, but it'd be probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do manipulate then if you're offering me the choice. Sure. Then so
I think that makes sense.
Have that option. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So how many dice am I rolling here?
Yeah, I don't know if you've got any.
So I got one. I got the die of fate.
Here. Yep, and then so yeah, let me look my.
Yeah, that's true. I have nothing helpful here. Assets wise.
Let's see. So your intent obviously is just an overcome, trying to just have it change some of the narrative approach. So normally I would say this is pretty easy, right? You're just trying to cover your hand with the thing, but
can I start humming a Hellbreaker song that's distracting him? Maybe.
I mean, I think it's probably pretty normal for people to hum generally, or like, yeah, I don't know that would.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like some song that would distract him, whether or not just by virtue of the song or like of the fact that I'm singing, or a specific song that I might be able to use to distract, like get his attention away from it in some way. But I'm hopefully being subtle enough that like the song I'm humming is in it. It's like, you're doing the deception song, right?
Right. Yeah. That would be kind of this is the I'm lying to you song. It makes my life better. Yeah.
What's funny is like the apostates, the dark elves definitely have those songs. Right. They have the deception songs. But so I don't know how that works in long term.
If they sing them to each other, it probably doesn't work. But if they sing it to anybody else, they're like, I don't know this song.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's probably also like a sort of a sing. It's probably like a way they talk, right? Even more than like its own song.
Yeah, like the singers using the rhythms. Yeah, like
yeah.
Your voice becomes a little bit more like silver. Silver tongued, a little bit more smooth.
Normally, I would say this isn't too hard, but so yeah, I think you can take that for that. But we know that he is observant, so I'm going to say that nobody has a clear advantage here. You can push yourself if you want.
I think I will. Yeah.
So he is. He definitely has songs for
noticing things.
Perception, yeah. In fact, that was a note I put down about him before, was that he hums perception songs all the time.
Yeah.
And so
lovely. This is gonna go so badly.
A pretty decent pool here, probably. So I'll give you a difficulty first here. So yeah.
So I'm getting 4 dice.
That sounds right, because you've got
manipulate, die of fate, Hellbreaker songs, stress.
Did you want? Sorry, were you pushing yourself?
Yes.
Okay, then that's actually 2. You get 2 stress for pushing yourself. 2 dice. Sorry,
2 dice for pushing. Okay.
So
so it'd be 5 then. Yeah.
I suppose you are. What was the word that you are dazed generally from your being so tired. Not. Yeah, dazed. Yeah, from your. Right. So that is, I suppose, a thing to consider. I don't know if that really matters here. I don't think that's like huge.
I mean, where is that? I have severe burns, fungal infection.
I just changed.
That was something we hadn't changed before.
Yeah, so you have 2 QD spread. I just never updated the hindrance.
Got it.
It's 1d6 per, unless you have an extra and you don't.
So do the other hindrances need to be tied to an attribute, or is that just a thing that happened because I got acuity?
Yeah, so the hindrances you can get normally, but clocks can also have things that cause effects, and one of the effects they can have is give a hindrance. So like taking damage, and actually this should also be partially full. I think this is actually what your health looks like. But
Lovely.
Yeah, so the severe burns 3d6 came from this clock. And the fungal infection was a thing someone just generated any randomly without a clock. And dazed came from this clock. And now you'll have after this, you'll have uneasy.
Right,
from
the
firm presence.
Okay.
Yeah. But once you like basically take a nap and like go to sleep, all the stress will go away, and those will go away too.
So many dice.
Yeah. I don't know that dazed is going to help him, but I think uneasy. Well, no, uneasy's after this roll. That's how that works.
I feel like dazed would probably, right? Or I guess it's an acuity thing, so maybe not.
Yeah, and I don't know that like. Yeah, you're not doing anything super complicated here.
If I was trying to notice something, then that's one thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And if you're like doing like sleight of hand or something, I would say for sure. Right. But this is pretty simple. Like you're just.
Well, I'm glad that I chose manipulate them.
Yeah. So he's got 3.
Oh boy. The way Burning Wheel goes, the likely outcome is I get 2 successes. So we'll see how this goes. Right. Die of Fate is the first one, right?
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, so 2 successes and a 1 on the Die of Fate.
Yeah, so that's rough. Let's see.
Anything I could do to bump that up, or
you could use a trait to reroll. I think that's pretty much your only option. Yeah, you don't have any 6. You could use a trait to reroll 6s, but you don't have any. That won't be any. But yeah, you could reroll if you wanted to. If you had a trait that was relevant, yeah, you could invoke.
Well, can I invoke the relationship trait that I have with Elias?
Oh yeah.
Elias can see things that I cannot, so he has my begrudging respect. Right? Like I know he can see things, so I'm being extra cautious.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, go for it.
So I get to re-roll the entire
the whole thing.
Test. Okay. Even the Die of Fate.
I don't think so. Actually, no. You know what? You probably could, because originally the reason I had it that you didn't reroll the Die of Fate was that I didn't want there to be a difference between who was rolling it, right?
Right.
But now with player-facing rolls, I guess like a player versus player roll, it would matter, because then the person acting could control whether or not they'd have a better chance of getting the Die of Fate to be good. You know what I mean?
That could be fun though.
Yeah, I mean that's fine with me. I think that makes sense. It's less of an issue now because only the players are going to be rolling the Die of Fate. So.
Yeah, you watch. I'm going to get worse. Hey, 3 and a 6. Nice. So what can I do with that Die of Fate then? What does that mean?
So it's changed a few times. Currently, the way it works is you get a tie result from any of the intents for free, in addition to whatever you get, regardless of how the outcome of the roll goes. So you can choose to have a minor impact or a costly or minor impact in the narrative, right? Basically, just like tell me what something happens.
Can I make it not a tie?
Well, so it's oh, you mean the roll, not a tie?
The roll, not a tie, right? Because we got 3 successes.
Oh, right. Yeah, you did actually tie him. No, you just get basically. I
just have to, because I don't think that thing would help me because I'm already getting a tie.
Right. Yeah. That's true. So I was just going to read all the tie options, but yeah.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
You could pick something else. You could have another like minor impact on the scene, right?
Yeah.
Cost your minor impact. You could also temporarily create or increase a tag by 1d6. That probably wouldn't help here necessarily, but I could basically like the next thing you do with him could have like a bonus die tied to it, right? Or you could like gain a boost. That doesn't really mean too much. I think there's an instance. You could remove a mark of the recover move. I would say that you could get rid of uneasy, the thing you got for pushing yourself, right?
Yeah.
Or rather, you could get rid of your mark in presence.
Sure.
If you wanted, which would get rid of your uneasy hindrance that you generated from making it. I don't know that really benefits you that much, but that's a tie result that I think makes sense here.
Yeah.
So basically, you just get 2 tie results. Also, a tie result for the overcome is also a mark. So if you had like a progress clock going that you needed to mark, you could mark that with a tie, right? Give it a mark.
Okay, so backing up here, just
Yeah.
disregarding the die of fate for now, what does it mean that I got a tie with him?
So basically, you either get a costly or minor impact. So either you don't do as much as you wanted, or it costs you something. In this case, it probably costs you something, right? Not doing as much as you want doesn't make as much sense.
He only sees part of my infection.
I think what this means is that he doesn't know that you've been infected by a Tannerin spore, right? He doesn't know you have a proper thing, but he does know that you've been very badly injured by Tannerin enemies, and he's I think generally concerned about that, right? Like,
sure,
he's concerned that there might be longer lasting effects of that fight. Just doesn't know anything specific, or that it's nearly as bad as it is, right?
And when I miraculously return, having been healed by the grove, he'll be like,
yeah, right. So yeah, he has suspicions, but he doesn't know anything specific, right? So basically, that's you both tying, right? He gets a little what he wants. You get a little what you want.
That's fine. And then with that 6, I can use it to like get rid of that tag. Anything else? Because time's gonna pass here. I'm gonna recover in theory.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know if I want to worry about that.
You could gain a boost, which just give you a die to your next roll. It's kind of like the easy one. Or you could have another minor impact on the scene in some other way, right? Could have something else happen that would be beneficial to you in some way.
What that would be.
Like maybe you could notice something. Yeah.
It's just something I can notice in the scene.
Yeah, good question. Let me think.
Or I could be like, I get a promotion.
Yeah.
Elias is impressed with me.
I think you see that would be an option for like taking the temporary tag thing, right? Like if you want, or like a boost with like that basically be like a boost for him specifically. Yeah, and it would last until
something in the scene is fun. Let's do that.
Yeah. I think you notice what he's looking at on the table, and there is a like you're pretty familiar with the region, the surrounding regions and stuff, right? You're a scout, you have to know the area pretty well. And you see sort of indications on this map that there have been like basically there's some areas in like a blue or like a green and some areas in a red. And you know that those areas indicate like allied contingents of people on Skovrane natives. And the red is obviously like Tannerin influence. This specifically, I think, is the afflicted, ascendant afflicted territory. It seems to be encroaching on the cultivated flesh territory, right? Like something is going on, something probably not great. The good colors are getting smaller and the bad colors are getting bigger in this area over here. And that appears to be what he's looking at. So you can ask him about it if you'd like, or you can just retain that information. But
I might just retain it for now because I don't want to spend any longer in the room than I have to.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Cool.
All right, cool. It's off to the researchers, I guess.
All right. Yeah. So we see you head down the mountain. We walk along this long fence. We see the barracks passing on your side. There's a training yard. I think actually we see in this training yard as you pass it are a couple of armored soldiers like sparring hand to hand. And you see they're wearing. I imagine them basically like Spartans from Halo, right? Like it's a power suit. It makes them, they probably look like they're about 7 feet. The people in the armor are regular human sized, right?
Yeah.
And also that the armor weighs like a ton. It's a lot. It's very heavy, but they're moving
shard
like
plate.
Basically, they're moving like regular people, like regular speed. And that's possible because the armor has the same technology that your spike gloves have. But it's instead of for traveling, it's for weight reduction. So literally,
anti-grav stuff. Yeah,
they have like basically like a frame in the suit, And in the exterior of the suit is basically the spike that you have, right? But it's just like a piece of material. And then on the frame is like what your gauntlet has. So the frame is constantly pulling towards the actual armor, the exterior of the armor, in a way that makes it lighter. It's like a gentle pull, just enough that the armor is lighter because it's constantly lifting itself, basically.
Yeah.
And it allows them to move a lot easier despite its weight.
Nice.
And also like they can increase it a little bit and it'll let them like fall slowly if they need to, right? But so, and it also lets them move at like a regular human speed in that armor. So they can't outpace you. But they, especially not in the jungle where you have things to shoot at. On foot, they're probably faster than you, but the scouts are definitely faster in any kind of terrain. But they're obviously more heavily protected. So yeah, this is the kind of armor suit that Elias wears, and you see them sort of grappling and throwing each other. And then as you pass, you see. Sorry, go.
No, I just said sweet.
Oh, okay. You pass by the barracks. You see the big, industrial sector basically on your right. And then you pass. Excuse me. What's going on?
The refugee camp.
Yes, you see on the right hand side the refugee camp, which is a ramshackle of like basically like cargo container type flimsy metal structures stacked on each other, and wooden barricades hastily thrown up, as walls, that kind of stuff, and tents around it as well. You do see one nice proper building over here that looks like it was actually built. The rest are all pretty ramshackle or tents. And then I'm just gonna draw a line here. That's a fence. There's a fence.
A very bad fence.
Yeah, it's they were a little drunk when they laid that one, I think. And you see the red fields of what did I call them? There it is. The blood drop gardens, they are called. Still muted. I thought I clicked it. You see just basically a giant field of flowers, red flowers, punctuated by these like tall, almost like they look like plants, but they kind of have like this weird sinuous fibrous thing that mussels have, right? They kind of look like if a plant was made out of mussel. It's a little weird. And atop a hill, you see in the distance the estates for the 12lings that live here. And the astrologer centers and research centers over here as well. So you past, you see the sort of like the road here, instead of being like a smooth metal, is like a laid brick, a golden and red sort of inlaid
yellow brick road.
Yeah,
through a field of red flowers.
Yep.
We've entered Oz.
Were they red flowers in the Wizard of Oz?
I think at one point there was like a field of red flowers.
There were fields of flowers to put them to sleep. I didn't know if they were red or not.
I think
either way.
At least like the juxtaposition of like red and the yellow brick road that reminds me of Oz for some reason, and I think there at least one shot in that movie that like looks would be reminiscent of this. I think.
Sure. Yeah. So we take a step into the flower of fields on this.
Flower fields. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
one flower that just has fields.
Big flower. Big field of flowers. Yeah. I did that earlier today. I said, when I was a dream, I had a child. It's one of my friends. I looked at him and was like, wait a minute.
Dream I had a child.
Wait, no. Yeah, that reminds me of that llama song. When I was a treehouse, I lived in a cake. It's just nonsense, right? You not heard that song? No. The llama duck. Yeah, okay. That's probably for the best. Okay. Anyways, so we see I take step looking beleaguered and you're probably a pretty big juxtaposition here too. This whole place is like intensely beautiful and you're just covered in like blood and burns.
Right,
and,
exactly. Yeah.
Like your rough cloak.
I do have to say when I was a dream, I had a child is a great writing prompt.
True.
Just evocative enough to be like, ooh, what does that mean?
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thanks for. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know which one of those looks better, but
let's see. The one on the bottom looks more like a jerk, so we'll go with that one. Those are both really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think. Oh yeah, you said you're going to the science place, so that's probably this one here, as far as like general research, right? This is probably more specifically for the plants.
Yep. Yep. So I walk in. They probably have. I mean, did they take the fungal titan here, or?
Yeah, I mean, somebody is probably like loading in a truck right now. It'll probably take a while to get here, but this is where they'll take it eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, actually, I think they probably don't want to do that because it's
that's
infested.
what I was just thinking. Right. Yeah.
This is where they
some
make
other
their
place. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be like they're probably going to set up like a field research section like outside the gate.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And do that. So it's probably what you see, right? As you approach, you see some people loading up some trucks with equipment.
Right, just to take over there. Equipment. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so I think I call out to one of them, one of the researchers, maybe someone I know, maybe not, and basically just say, "Hey," right, like, get their attention.
Yeah, so he's holding like a little like a slab of stone that has like a little polyhedrons around it and like a glass dome over it, and he stops. He's holding. He's like, Oh, Zion, how are you?
Not so great. Are you going to study the Titan?
Yes, we're preparing a field. My brain isn't working today.
You're good.
A field research vehicle. What can I help you? You need anything?
Who would be the researcher I actually need to talk to? That like when Elias said, "Go talk to them." This is who he meant.
That's an excellent.
I don't even necessarily need to know a name like at this exact moment, but just like the idea that like is this the person I'm talking to? Are they more important than that? And they're just still.
Oh yeah, this is probably just like one of the research. Like there's probably only a handful of like actual scientists here, and this is one of them. But I think probably the lead guy is still inside.
Okay.
Or I don't know. He'd probably want to see this. So yeah, we'll say this is him. It's easier that way.
Okay. Yeah. Instant characterization that just came to my head. Maybe you can use this or discard it. I was thinking maybe this guy is a 12 lean as well, and he's maybe a little bit on the younger side, and maybe we knew each other when we were younger. But like he is, he's sort of guy like me. He was like talented. Maybe the researcher who was like in charge of this thing last got killed at some point during.
Yeah, sure.
and so he's maybe struggling to keep it together, but is like smart enough that was promoted to this position.
Yeah, sounds good. That's it. So you know each other for a while, right? You said?
I think so. Yeah. We're both 12 lanes. Maybe we're cousins.
And
I mean, at this point, we're probably all cousins, but.
Awkward. Yeah. Yeah, technically. Yeah. So this guy's name is. I just wrote it down. I lost it. Ozias.
Ozias. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Can I help you with something?
I assume that's how you spell it, but no, I might be wrong.
Yeah, I didn't realize how similar it was to the other's name that I just gave you. Confusing. It's Sauron and Saruman.
Yeah. Right, that's true. Yeah.
I just talked to somebody about that yesterday. About it, like I was like, "Oh, it's Sauron's hand," and then I was like, "Or maybe it's Saruman. Maybe I'm stupid." And the person's like, "It's Saruman." I'm like, "She's like, I never understood why they made him so similar." I was like, "Yeah, one letter, two letters, whatever it is."
I'm pretty sure it's because the etymology of it for Tolkien was like, no, they both mean the names mean similar things. Which is why they're both evil guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I can't keep them straight. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I just thought of a dumb joke, but I'm not going to say it. So let's just say that Saruman is also known as of the many colors, and
unfortunate.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Oh man,
keeping it straight might not be as easy. It might be easier than you think, or maybe not as easy. There we go. I made the joke. Okay, so yeah, so basically, yeah, he says that, and basically, I say, I was sent here by Elias to answer any questions you might have about our mission, but I'm happy to come along if you'd rather I do that.
Well, I've got lots of questions about the corpse you dropped at our door, but I mean, they were. You were actually sent. That's not the. Well, I guess he wouldn't know. Is that not the? Gosh, is it Malavim? That's right. Yeah, is that not the Malavim out there?
Yes.
It's not actually. I don't think, is it? Because that was the giant beast thing that you grabbed, right? I guess you took both corpses, right?
That's okay. So that's what I was confused about originally. Is that
sure?
It seemed like you were implying that we were going to grab the big Titan we just killed, but then earlier when I asked about it, you were like, no, you grabbed the Malavim.
Yeah, I knew that you had taken the giant monster guy, but I think that was extra. The intention, I think, was to grab the Malavim. So I think you must have grabbed both.
I'm not sure how.
Well, you had a dragon.
I get it just makes 2 trips.
He's got 2 claws. I don't know. He's strong.
Okay, all right. As long as you're giving it to me, that's fine with me.
Yeah, I think functionally the giant brute isn't going to be a lot of stuff that you haven't already learned, right? He's just a big bad guy. You've killed those before. It's just extra tissue to study, right? So really the Malavim is the primary.
Yeah, that's what I figured was the important piece.
Yeah. So
so basically, do you want me to come along? Like, are we asking questions on the go, or are we doing like an official report here?
Yes, I would like to get out there as quickly as possible. You hop in the truck, I guess.
Yeah, I just swing up.
So like, and of course it's science fantasy, so the truck floats, and it's got like it obviously doesn't look like a truck, right? It looks like a speeder from Star Wars, pretty much, right? But sort of long and boxy.
I grab something in the truck, or start fiddling with something in the truck that is going to hide the fact that my arm is infected. Right. I start doing an activity, or I don't know, maybe grab a box that someone else was lifting up into the truck or whatever, and just hold it and keep myself faced away from. Right.
Yeah, and I think if you were able to deceive Elias with it, I don't think anybody else is going to notice it. So I'm not going to like make you roll a whole bunch.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think at this point we can assume that unless you change your approach in some way, you're hiding it. And yes, you probably just keep your cloak around it, right? And after a few minutes of thumping in the back, Ozias climbs in, and a couple other scientists climb in like the back. Probably like understudies or whatever. And
interns.
Yeah. Actually, I think in the icon thing, this is called a university. So it's probably like a learning center, but they also
students,
do it. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? So yeah, they peel around, go through the flower field, and drive through the actually they don't even really need to. They could just drive out, right? Because the barrier's off. That's probably not a great idea, because if the barrier turns on while you're passing through it, you die. So that probably
the gate is generally a better idea.
Yeah. That's probably a good explanation for why people use the gate.
Because like isn't like automated like to turn on when there's danger too? So
I mean, people activate it, and it probably has sensors to like detect if there's foreign entity in it. But yeah, I mean it's probably
a very dangerous thing that you should not mess with.
Right. Yeah. If it malfunctions and just turns on or something like that, that's bad. Anyway, so yeah. You guys peel out to the corpse over here. You see them start to unload, and he jumps out and he says, "Wow, it's oh no, you burned off most of its like." Yeah.
It's mostly just a Malavim corpse underneath.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he just whistles, and it's like kind of just looks like one of the, because the singers are sorry, the choir, they are Malavim, right?
Yes. So my we can go back and forth on this. It seemed like the Malavim that you described that we killed, right? Was like this big kind of like angelic shelled thing.
Yeah.
So I think what must have happened at some point during the history of Skovrane, I think when the war was happening here,
Mhm.
right, to fight for Skovrane and make it not turn into this terrible hellscape,
Yeah.
the Malahim came down as like like chitin mechs.
Mhm. Yeah.
And we're fighting, right? But then as soon as it failed, like their body, they can't take a body, and so they are now these like forest
Sure.
spirits, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So actually, I have an idea for this based on my idea for how the Titans work.
hmm,
And yeah, so I think it is similar to that. I think you guys don't necessarily know, and maybe you've asked this to inquire. Maybe they're probably not very like forthcoming with anything really. I think they're probably
oh,
kind
we
of
should
like
try to get one of the Supreme
cryptic.
Choir to like possess this again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you know that the string these are the same as the string choir, and there's just something like the string choir are basically like you said, they're uh, the same, but these versions were wearing some kind of carapace. But it wasn't just like I mean, I guess you don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably what everyone assumes, right?
Mhm.
What you just said.
Yeah.
But I think there is a little more to it probably. But
Sure. Sure.
yeah, I think
I definitely am going to ask when I go to the choir. I'm going to ask about like, hey, we got a body for you. You want to
nice.
use a soldier?
Very cool, very cool. All right, yeah. So oh, yeah, he hops out and he's like uh it starts gesturing to the interns to set equipment up, starts setting up, observation equipment around it, and
Mm-hmm.
uh it's like, oh man, I wish I could take this back to the lab. It's probably fine. There's probably not that much, you know, infestation left in it. But
No, Mordecai burned it all away, as far as I can tell. There
yeah,
might be something. There might be some growth inside the thing, and I kind of like look down whatever hole the polyp came out of, right?
yeah, there's definitely like gunk in there still.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, so you'll need to clear that out, but the outside seems pristine.
All right, yeah, I suppose it's better safe than sorry. We wouldn't want to like pollute the blood um fields, whatever they're called. Gosh darn it, what did I name them? The
Blood
blood
drop.
drops. Yeah. And then he starts basically just tinkering with stuff.
Mhm.
And so in fighting it, did you have any observations? We haven't had a chance to interact with many of these.
Yeah. I say Mordecai did most of the hard work, burning off the fungus, so that we could get to the Malavine below. Once we incapacitated it, and the Tannerin didn't have uh, pieces of body to use, I assume he can't control the harmonic body in the same way he could control the spores, the growth. So the polyp had to evacuate the shell at that point, and that's when I caught him and was able to do some study on the thing.
Yeah, it's just it seems pretty undamaged. The Molotov
Mhm.
itself, I mean, obviously
Yes, our me and Mordecai and I came to the conclusion that one of the reasons that these things are so hard to fight is this body, and I wrap on the shell, is still inherently harmonic somehow. And so whenever we would fight these things, our weapons aren't hitting anything but sliding around the fungus and cracking cracking on top of a shell that is basically immune to all of our weapons. I had to burn the whole thing off to get a good look at it, though. See what was happening.
yeah, he nods. That does explain why we've had so much trouble piercing the Titans with the Balahim's armor, but they shouldn't. I wouldn't think they'd be harmonic after death. That's strange. And he yeah, you see him rapping on it, and
Maybe the choir will know more. I'm planning to go talk to them after this.
well, I wish you luck. They're a little tight-lipped as usual, but uh, you know, I suppose it can't hurt to ask, probably. And then he starts takes like a little razor blade, starts scraping at the armor. He says, I've got a lot of stuff to do here, and unless you've got any other you know observations that you think might be of use?
Yeah, I think I say the polyp. After I studied it, I banished the thing, and I tried something. Tried to make a cage of hard light using a song. It seemed to the smoke, the cloud that usually comes off these things when they die, seemed to be barred by it for a moment and then faded away. I think there might be something there. Has anyone experimented with hard light?
Oh, well, we haven't had a lot of opportunities to uh, interact with the polyps. They either run or they call reinforcements or we shoot them. So I don't know that anybody's
That's
tried.
pretty much what happened to us.
Yeah, I suppose. That is interesting, though. You say it interacted with the shell. That's strange. Or I suppose not strange, but what happened? Did you say that it broke? I don't. I guess it doesn't matter. Like
It broke through. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it broke through, then maybe it has something to do with the ratio of discordic and harmonic energy, or something. Not to imply that your songs aren't. Anyways, yeah, I've got lots.
I smile.
Yeah.
I seem to think of something, and I say, I wonder if these bodies are inherently harmonic. There must be some way that they possess in the first place, but if we manage to, I don't know, this is probably outside the realm of plausibility, but if there was some way that we could use this body to try to lure a polyp to possess it, and then maybe we trap it inside the pure harmonic body, maybe then we could study it further. I guess it would maybe try to possess the body and maybe try to kill us all, but at least we'd have it trapped.
Well, you did say that after you defeated the outside, it didn't have much to do, or it couldn't do a lot.
It might not have anything to use as weapons.
I actually think that, if I remember right, I think Mordecai might have punched a hole in it with one of his sulfur things and like burned some stuff inside too. Okay. So I think it can control it without the exterior part, but yeah, if it can't control it well without the exterior, you said it fled shortly after, maybe we could try it. They must have a way in. I mean, I suppose it has, orifices to travel through, but I suppose if we could find something powerful enough to seal them after it's inside, we could at least experiment. Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Although I suppose luring a polyp inside it would be easier said than done. But it's worth a try.
That, or I convince one of the Serene Choir to possess it again, and then we have an angelic warrior with chitin armor.
Yeah, I suppose. It's certainly worth a shot.
I'll let you do some study first, though.
All right, we'll do. Thanks. Good luck. And do you see a doctor, maybe?
That's where I'm headed next. I'll give you a full report on. I'll have a full report on your desk by the end of the day.
Thanks, appreciate that. And then he goes over to him and it's like, no, like this, twists one of the rocks a different direction. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yep. So I'm gonna head to this ring choir.
All right. Let's see. All right.
The mystical forest.
So you walk back in to this very large gate over here. You see a young guy in sort of the conventional, like sort of stony looking slate kind of armor. Not like a power suit, but just a regular, like a flak vest kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. And he nods and says, "Oh, hello, Zan. How are you?"
Good. Do I know this guy?
He's just a soldier, so probably not. There's probably enough of them that like you've probably seen his face, right? But you probably don't know his name, unless you have like super good memory for names, which is up to you. Yeah, what's your recall? Your recall's 2. You got a good memory.
Yeah, I assume I'm friendly and personable and stuff. But
sure, yeah.
It doesn't matter that much. I guess is this like just a passing remark, or is this guy going to talk to me? And
oh yeah, no, he's just guarding the gate, right?
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So I just say hi.
Yeah. So do you need to get in?
Oh, into this guy's guarding this gate right here.
Yeah, okay. the gate to the
Yep.
Yeah, there was
right. That makes more sense. Okay, yeah. So I say yes, I have some things I need to discuss with the Grove after my mission.
Okay. I'm trying to think if you need like a like a trying to think of how
can it be that because I'm a 12 lane I can
I think either way you can get in. I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
about whether or not this is sort of like against protocol. It probably is. You probably have to like, send word ahead, right? Like,
well, how about I just plan on like rolling some sort of sway or whatever here, and
Sure.
basically just present it as like our mission was, we learned something of vital importance that the Grove needs to know immediately.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sounds good.
Which is true. I'm not lying.
Yeah. That's true.
I just have another reason I also want to come here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. You can use. We can do a roll here just for the sake of rolling. Because I think basically you should, and obviously he's probably not going to resist you much because you're 12.
Yeah. Probably failure here would be like he tells someone that. Like,
right.
Yeah. So Zion went in there. I thought it was kind of weird, but it seemed fine.
Yeah, exactly. All right, sounds good. So I think either sway or command works. You have the same rating in both anyways.
Yeah, I'll do sway.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
And then, I mean, we can assume they have a song for everything, right? I'm humming a song that makes people like to listen to me. It's happy.
I'm not sure. I don't know, maybe. But either way, I think you get a pretty large positional bonus here for being his commanding, like you're a special operative commander. Yeah. So I'm going to give you I'll probably do 3. I think it's probably about as big as the advantage can get. Positional, as it were, whatever it's called.
Okay, so I have 6 dice then total.
I think the actual wording is you are in a. Do I have it right there? You're in a perfect position to be able to convince this guy to do this. Sorry, die fate, and then you're
die fate in 2 from sway, and then the 3 advantage.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's just gonna roll.
Wow, 2 successes. That's not very good.
Actually, I'm gonna give him another dice because you have the uneasy. Oh no, you didn't choose to get rid of uneasy. No way. All right. So again, I this isn't. I'm not going to stonewall you here. Like you have the authority to just tell this guy to get out of the way if you need to.
Well, I got traits, right?
Oh yeah, sure. You can do stuff if you need to. If you want to.
And let's.
Let's look at your traits.
I don't know if I have anything. Too close to the sun.
You have be a good leader without just being a noble. I mean, I think the fact that you approach this
without though, right?
You're right. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah. That's obviously how I'm approaching it. I don't know if I will keep the men out of my can safe is not really a trait that seems relevant here. I will return Skovrane to its former glory. Too close to the sun.
I could see maybe too close. The danger here is that he's going to reinforce Elias's concern that something's wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like maybe too close to the sun makes sense here because that's kind of the danger of this is not whether or not you get in. It's
I'm
whether or not
good at going too close to the sun.
Yeah,
that's what that means.
Yep. So far.
All right, here we go. It got even worse.
Nice.
Okay, well, I think I failed that.
Yeah. So he says that. I assume you've called ahead. They know you're coming, right? They're a little standoffish.
Yes, I'm hoping that they'll be in a good mood.
All right. Well, so that means you didn't call ahead.
Oh, I guess I missed that part.
Oh, yeah,
I was yawning.
Yeah.
Let's back up. I say, there wasn't time. As soon as I got here, I knew that they needed to hear this information. Easier to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. Am I right?
Yeah. He's like, is that a trick question? I don't know. You're like,
you were the right answer, soldier.
Yeah, okay, sure. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine.
It's not
Yeah,
like I
okay.
have a fungal infection that might infect the sacred grove or anything like that. No, no, no.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, he's like, all right, yeah, give me a second. He swipes in this giant gate, right? Like goes off to the side.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, before you see, like immediately as the gate opens, like mist pours out, right? A fog. Like the wall is almost containing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, this is all just fence, so like it's going through a little bit through the cracks here and there, but it's like kind of just pools out as the gate opens. And yeah, behind you see uh like gray brown trunks and like like a range between like sort of like ironish color and regular sort of brownish color tree trunks and uh blue green and grayish blue leaves on all the trees, just dense forest. There's a very small path winding through the trees up to like a the hill where you can see the trees mound, right? And you can just barely make out some strange light from the middle of that, from the front of that hill. Um, through, I guess there's not that many trees in the way. You can see kind of like a gate structure, or like an arch structure at the opening to the hill. And as you pass under it, it's like it faintly glows. It's like it's a really faintly blue glow to it, and it looks like it's made out of almost like a bone kind of structure. It's like a really pale white material that sort of has this really gentle glow to it.
Chitin.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's pretty similar to the Malavine's, like the dead Malavine's body. Not exactly the same, but similar.
Yeah, whether or not my assessment is true, my headcanon is definitely that they like dropped from orbit in the chitin mechs as angels to fight the demons. That was definitely a thing that happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Too cool.
Definitely. Yeah, and you see, I think one of the you see one of the Malavim, and they're did we describe what they look like? I don't remember. I don't think so. Like when we made them up originally.
Sorry, say that again.
The Malavim the string choir. Did we describe what they look like? I can't remember.
Enigmatic forest spirits, tree bark armor, and blue fairy fire.
Oh, all right. I forgot about the tree bark armor thing.
Yeah, I imagine that they just look straight up like dryads, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that seems fair. And I think they have the same sort of like inner glowing blue like,
glow,
light,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And yeah, one of them is sort of just like passing by the gate and sees you coming, and
they fight with fairy fire, and they defend themselves with a shining halo.
Oh, all right, that's dope. Wow.
What useful expertise can you draw on? Guardians to watch over the holy.
Sick. All right.
Very fun.
I'd forgotten most of that. That's crazy. All right. Yeah. So I mean, I guess you see like a large like silvery or maybe like a white gold silvery sort of ring behind it. That like just kind of like floating behind its back, like it's sort of like the size, the height of its torso, right? And yeah, it seems like it's kind of got this internal blue flame around this like sort of a grayish brown bark. And
you're describing one of the spirits themselves.
Yeah, it's walking by, yeah, and it notices you. It's going by, and it sort of stops and waves. And then yeah, just kind of, unless you stop it, it's sauntering over.
Well, is there a particular like council of elders or something in the Serene Choir? Yeah. Actually, that's actually a good question. How are they ruled? They are ruled by the overwhelming demands of a holy codex.
Nice. Yeah, so they have like another structure. Gosh darn. Actually, that's where I want to ping anyways. No, it's not. They have like a structure over here that is kind of like a meeting place for them, right? Probably the home of that codex, right? Um, and that's probably where you're headed, right? They tend to just kind of wander their grove and like, meditate and stuff, right? Like attend it, right? So they're kind of scattered everywhere, but there's usually somebody presumably in this shrine thing.
Cool.
Yeah, so we see you wandering through you make your way through. Have you been here before, I assume?
Um, Probably at some point.
Uh,
I don't know what I would have done here exactly, but I assume that we
sure.
can visit and stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that they're pretty reclusive generally. Like, not that they're not helpful, but they, basically, you guys moved into their grove and kind of like took over, and so like they are like, okay, this is our spot. Uh, we need to keep the grove as a grove, and like, so they generally just don't want people in here, tampering with things or whatever. So I think they're usually pretty like, they're pretty secluded. But obviously, like if this place were to be attacked, they would help, right? They're not like snobbish, right? Um, at any rate, so yeah, I think you remember how to get here from having come maybe like when you first arrived. Uh, Dallas introduced you to as a twelveling
Yeah.
to the string choir.
Makes sense.
So yeah, you've probably been here at least once before. Yeah, and you can see well, probably not much. It's mostly trees and like a winding path through it, up to a large sort of like I'm imagining kind of like a Japanese looking shrine, probably not with like the vaulted roof necessarily, like but like just a large sort of rectangular building with uh pretty open interior.
Yeah.
It's just it's pretty open to the air and stuff like that.
Yeah. Are there like Malavim in sight?
Yeah, I think probably there's probably a couple like outside. There's definitely like a hand inside, right? Um,
Yeah. I think as I walk through the grove, we see
as I walk
me.
through the grove, I understand.
I had still had like the cloak right
Yeah.
on my arm, but I let it drop at some point
Mhm.
uh during my walk. And I think even just like on the ground, I just like leave it on the ground. And
Mhm.
I walk up to the shrine, and then I just kind of like we can see that I've continued keeping the facade mostly up throughout this entire time that I visited the Hellbreaker base. But as soon as I like the closer I get to the shrine, the more I seem to like just stumble and like not be able to hold my head up. And I just like fall on my knees right before the
Mhm.
shrine, and I just like fall on my face, and I'm just like, help.
Yeah, you see one of the ones that's just loitering outside comes over and kneels down and says, "Oh my, that's not good." And we see him sort of like try to lift you, like help you up. Um,
Yeah, I shakily get
and
to my feet.
um,
I Forgive me. I touched something I should not.
and yeah, it nods and says, "It is a hard thing to avoid in a place like this. Come, let's
No, you do not understand. This was not an accidental brush with a spore. This was I sought power from the Discordia. I like look down at my arm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think you hear it kind of like humming internally, right? And there's probably some like cracking in it, like a flame, right?
Mm.
As it sort of like reverberates, and um, yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to think of what their reaction is to something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? Like, obviously, these are angels; they're not going to just be like, "Oh, how dare you?" Like you obviously come here to do something about it, and you're being open about it,
Mm-hmm.
so that's
Mm-hmm.
obviously important. So yeah, I think it says uh, we will do what we can to help reverse that mistake. I trust that you won't make it again. It's clear that by coming here, you've understood that.
And nod.
And it nods back. It says, all right, come. come along. And he like helps you into the shrine. Um, and I think there is a like a pool in it, right? And inside of that,
Perpendicularity.
yeah, right. um, there are like even though it's kind of like a bathhouse style pool, right? It's like just in the floor, big open pool, and there's like a bunch of plant life growing around and like in the bottom of the pool. Um, so it's probably kind of murky looking water, right? Like there's plant life in it. Um, but the Malabeam surge or the serene choir, what do you call them? I guess just call them Malabeam. That's what they are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some specific name that they have here, but I don't know what that would be
yeah.
yet.
Um, and yeah, he gestures and or they gesture. I don't know if they whatever. And submerge yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I think it gestures over to a couple of the other Moloch beam, and we see them like uh as you go under, they like reach in and they pull like a chunk of the fire out, right? Like the very fire they used to fight, and they like set it on top of the water, and it like
Yeah.
lights the base of the water, or lights the surface of the water on fire,
Mm-hmm.
and like this blue flame. Um, and yeah, I think when they do that, you feel like a tension above you, like a bubble, right? Like it's like it's keeping you in, right? Like almost pushing you down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we'll make a. I think that like the nature of this is going to heal the. I don't know that there's like a situation necessarily. Well, I don't know. I guess it's up to you, right? Like, I think if you're still attached to this thing, it won't die, right? Like if you're trying to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we will have a role here, right, where like you feel immediately the like uh there's like a burning in your vein, right, like in your arm where the vein was like where the spores were injected,
Mm-hmm.
and uh you feel it like you have like a fight or flight instinct, right? It's like, oh, we got to get out of here. This is bad. Uh, uh, but
Yeah.
it's sort of foreign. It feels like, it's not like your fight or flight instinct. It's like something's telling you got to get out of here right now. And it's sort of trying to tempt you to keep it, right. I think you even feel like uh, in the burning sensation is like a sensation of strength in your arm, right? Like like it's trying to show you that it can help you, right?
Yeah.
Before it burns up, it's sort of trying to communicate with you in some way. So yeah, I think we could probably make a roll here. I guess kind of depends on your. I mean, I guess that's what happens. You tell me what you do.
Yeah. I don't know. My guess is that Zion is not going to attempt to keep the Discordia in this place. Like that, it seems like something that whether or not they would be able to tell, Zion assumes that they will be able to tell, and so he just
Right.
accepts that like there's no way I'm keeping this. That has to go. Like he is probably going to be tempted again by this in future, but like
Yeah.
this instance of it needs to go, and he understands that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Trying to think if there's a role here.
Yeah, I mean, like Zion is not intentionally trying to keep it, but it's possible
Yeah.
that like it's already attached to my soul in such a way that it might stay.
It's trying to tempt you. If you'd had any willpower hindrances, I might have been like, oh, you're not your steel isn't in a place like there's
Right.
actually a question here. But you don't. Your days are not easy. I don't really think those are going to be a problem with it. I think I think it just burns. Yeah, I think it just burns away. I don't know that there's really much there, but I wonder if it'll try and like hurt you right as it's leaving.
Sure.
Um, instead, because I think basically it knows that you are
Rejecting it.
Yeah, and I think it's going to try and lash out. So let's see. It is going to. Actually, yeah, no, it's a player facing thing. I'm actually going to have you roll the resolve to like reject it, and then if you fail, I'll have it attack, because I think that's how it should work. That's how the order of the thing should be.
Yep.
So
no, that's not the right thing.
Let's see.
Okay, so resolve to got Die of Fate. Does Hellbreaker Songs or Arcana help here? Possibly.
Maybe Arcana. You have some idea what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
You understand that this thing's trying to tempt you too, right? Like you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that would be for 5d6 because I get.
You also
Arcana.
have a distorted magic.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. All right. You can feel free to roll to set the difficulty first.
I'm trying to figure out how much it's got.
Mm-hmm. It is always more dramatic to do it that way.
Yeah. It would normally have a pretty good I would have given this a benefit of some sort to tempting you if it wasn't in the place that it's in, right? But instead I'm going to call it flat. So got 2 successes.
All right. As long as I don't majorly fail. Oh, man.
Died.
1 on the Die of Fate, too.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, that means it gets a tie result regardless. So I think instead what's going to happen here is it's going to try and hurt you, right? Like or it's going to do a damage to you. It's going to take the tie result of inflict the mark
Got it.
Clock. So it's going to try and mark your resilience, which would kill you, but you have stress left. So it's probably a willpower stress in this case, which actually is free for you anyways because you have 4. So I assume you'd want to spend that instead of dying.
Yes, instead of dying. Yes, I'll do that.
So yeah. So we see it lash out at you, and I guess maybe it would be a fort. It doesn't matter. It's going to go away soon. It basically it's like, all right, fine, you're going to reject me, I'm going to reject you, and we see like the skin around those black veins start to gray, and then yeah, basically you just grit your teeth and like slowly we start to see that graying like stops and then starts to recede, and we see the burns on your flesh start to knit. And we're gonna make a recovery roll here now for the pool. Okay. So let's see.
Did anything happen with that Die of Fate rolling of 1?
That's what it got a free injury on you. Instead of rolling, I just took the free damage.
Sure. What does the tie mean then?
Oh yeah, I forgot. You tied.
There's 2 different things going on.
Right. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot the tie was
because the tie could be like they slightly get what they want, right?
Yeah, it basically you both get what you want. It's costly success.
What if here's a suggestion?
Sure.
What if I drop my cloak in the forest? What if there's a bit of the spore? There's a spore still on the cloak.
That you didn't wrap your arm in it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, because it's not in me anymore, but like there might be some more temptation there in the future and presence about me.
Yeah.
If Zion was in his right mind, he would have thought of that and made sure to plunge that in the water too. But like he was not.
Right. Yeah.
He took it off because he didn't feel worthy of it and dropped it on the ground because he just needed to like prostrate himself. But yeah, he won't think of that until it's too late.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So and I mean, I guess recovery roll here is kind of redundant, anyways, because. You do have quite a lot.
I have a lot of injuries. Yeah. I mean, I want to engage the mechanics, right? So let's
yeah, I did. Yeah. So I think is player facing stuff. So I think we'll actually have you roll. You're just going to get, a lot of help here. So they're going to give you an advantage. But this has, I guess, basically a tag, right? This is a question of resolve, probably, right?
Yeah.
Sort of attuning with this healing pool. But the pool itself is an asset that has 2d6 for it.
Okay.
This is what it's for. And also the Malavim created an advantage for you with their healing flames. So you're going to get 46 from that. And then the situation you're in is ideal recovery, right? So you're, honestly, I don't know that there's a better situation for healing than this.
Yeah.
So we'll put three on that as well. So, you're not going to fail this roll, obviously. It's just a question of how well this heals you.
Does that mean 8d6 altogether with die of fate?
I wasn't counting. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, 10. Okay. 10 d6. 5 successes. Exactly average.
All right. So, let's see.
I guess the die of fate gave them a success, but.
Oh yeah, true. So
I forgot about that.
All right. But you could also. Oh, it is average, isn't it? My roll was really good. Well, all right. 2 6s. Yeah. So this is, I believe, a standard success is 2. I think probably. Success. Remove 2 marks. So yeah, basically 2 of your marks get removed, and you just have all right, so your skin is still really sensitive, right? It's basically replacing all this burned flesh and like melted stuff with pink, fresh skin, but it's all really sensitive and soft and doesn't feel great. So it's not quite all the way gone, but it does kill your infection. So, I guess technically you should have a willpower. No, that was a free willpower. Never mind. Yeah, so I think that's everything.
Am I still dazed?
It makes sense that it would probably get rid of your dazed, because that's kind of like a physical or like a mental thing. I don't think it gets rid of uneasy. I don't necessarily think
that was about like my lying to my commanding officer by omission, right? Yeah,
it's probably sticking around, but I think we can say it probably refreshes your acuity and your probably your willpower too, I imagine. I mean, this
I succeeded on I guess I tied at resisting.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. You're going to get it back in them anyway. So I think it's fine. This is like the most ideal place to be healed in the setting. So,
cool.
There we go. Yeah, looks good. So yeah, basically as it burns away, like you still feel like a pressure on your back, right? Like it's like you're stuck in a bubble, and it is probably a little disconcerting because it feels a little like you might not be able to get back out underwater here. But yeah, after the gray in your arm fades, the black in your veins fades, and I think you even feel like there's like a white foam that sloughs out of your skin, right? Like like out of the pores, right?
Yeah.
And like dissolves in the water. And as the like physical part of the spores gets like ejected from your body, right? And like it just comes out of the part of your arm that was like blackened. And once that happens, we see the flames. Well, I guess they don't go out, but basically like that pressure leaves, and you feel like you can stand up again, which is good because you've been holding your breath for a little bit at this point.
Yeah. Cool.
So we see you stand up, break through the water, and gasp for air, and
not much talking, just kind of gasping and breathing, and yeah.
You see the Malavim that led you in, not see others, and they step away, and you see the flames start to die down. And it holds a hand out to you and says, um, remember that, or I think it says, honor this cleansing and do not sully yourself again.
I
And
understand.
He reaches a hand out to help you out of the water.
Yeah, and I accept. I take a moment, to like steady myself and squeeze water out of my clothes and whatever else I was doing, right? And then I say I say, honored ones, I also have an inquiry of you, if you would hear it.
Oh yeah, he nods. It nods.
We recovered the body of a fallen Malavim. Is this something that you and yours can use? It is still inherently harmonic.
Yeah, no, we could make use of its materials, but nothing else.
You cannot possess it again?
No, it's not clothing as much as it is different skin. We'd have to grow our own if we wanted to be like him. But he taps like the wall. We can make use of the material.
I understand. Once we get all that we can out of it, we will pass it on to you.
Yeah, it says, please be sure it is cleaned thoroughly.
Of course.
Thank you. And you can tell it seems kind of sad, right? To be talking about that.
But, dead body of one of his friends. Yeah.
Yeah. But it knows they're out there, so it's not like it's surprised. Yeah, I think it just nods, and then like it turns back to tending some of the plants around the pool.
I can go grab my cloak, completely oblivious to the fact that there is a spore attached to it still.
Yeah, so as you pick it up, we see in the camera, right, like just like a like do you put it back on or
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we see just sort of like in the hood, there's like some dust, right, some gold dust, as it were. And the camera zooms in on it.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and then I head out.
All right. Do we have any other last? So I'm gonna look at your things again.
Well, I guess it would probably just be. Well, one question would be like, what is the next thing that Zion is going to be up to?
Sure. Like, and actually, I had a thing and it didn't happen because we didn't need it to happen. So I guess this is a good time to do it. It can be the cliffhanger at the end instead. As you're heading back, presumably to like, I guess where do you live? That's a good question.
I think right now I've tried to make an effort to live in the barracks with my men or close by at least.
Okay.
Because I have a goal about not being like a uptight noble guy. So
yeah. Cool. So we see you heading back towards the barracks, and you hear a commotion from the. Well, actually, no. Okay, what you see is the laser gates pop on.
The laser gates, yeah.
And
I go into a sprint.
Yeah. Where are you sprinting to?
Probably towards the gate.
Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, as you get towards the gate, you see a large group of people outside. They don't appear to be doing anything untoward, but you know that it's protocol, right? If anybody's approaching to fire the gate up.
Probably refugees then or something.
Yeah. And so you see just a really big group. Probably as many people as are in the refugee camp now are outside of the gate. You see one guy in particular. I mean, they're all kind of like making gestures and stuff, but you see one guy in particular speaking with probably Elias. You probably see Elias exiting through the laser gate and start speaking with somebody.
Sure.
And there's a couple of his
once I see that it's not like
guys.
we're being attacked, I slow down and walk the rest of the way towards the gate.
Yeah. So by the time you get there, uh, the conversation's been going on for a little while, and you see Elias turn around and come back in, um, and he's sort of a short distance from you now at this point,
Mhm.
and he's just shaking his head and muttering something under his breath, and the gate kind of goes up behind him, right? Um,
Yeah, I try to walk so that I step in line with him as he's walking, and I say, um, "Sir, what was that all about?"
and he's walking back towards the
Yeah,
fortress to be clear.
I figured.
Yeah, he says, just more refugees. There's no end to them, really. I sort of suspected this would happen, but honestly, I hope they'd find somewhere else to go. They have their own hideaways.
Well, none. I'm sure that none are as secure as this one. Word's probably got around.
Sure, but we have our own people to feed. This is an army. We march on our stomach and all that. We already have too many of them in here.
You rejected them then?
Well, I mean, I told them I would. It's above my head, technically. I mean, I could turn them away, but I'm gonna. I don't know if he'd say that. Actually, he's arrogant. He says, "I did, but technically, I should confer with Dallas about it. He may have, he might just arbitrarily decide to ignore my suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Probably he will. But then he has to figure out how to feed them all. I'm not going to deal with it.
I nod, but like frown slightly troubled. Yeah, I don't think I say anything beyond that. I think I probably break off from him as he makes, as he gets to the edge of the barracks and keeps going. I like break off and walk back.
Okay.
And find Kai and the others.
Yeah, and you see the refugees are still outside, arguing with or speaking with raised voices, I suppose, to like the guards at the gate, right?
Yeah.
Inside of the gate, probably.
Yeah, I think I go find Kai.
Okay. Yeah. Kai, I think I'm kind of wondering if maybe the scouts live in this, like, because you're special forces, right? You're not the same.
True. Yeah, not.
So this could be like the special forces.
Yeah,
situation.
Yeah, that'll be our special base. Our little. Yeah, I like it.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So I think you head there, and I think Kai and his family live there as well. His family is also on planet.
Right.
And so they have like probably a corner to themselves because he's the leader of the
the scouts
squad. Yeah, or not. You're the leader. He's the like lieutenant, right?
He's the sergeant, and
Yes.
I'm the captain, right?
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah, maybe it is lieutenant. But
he's like a squad leader, and you're like the officer, right?
He's my second hand man.
Right. So yeah, he and his family live there. And you obviously, you probably have a place in the Blood Drop Gardens, right?
I'm sure I do. Yeah.
I think there was a different name for them actually. That's the Blossom Estates. Yeah. You have your own.
I stay here though for now.
Is anybody living in your house right now? Like, did you let somebody live there, or is it just empty?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's enough 12-lings that. Like, I feel like most of the other 12-lings have already gotten their own spaces, probably, right? So I think for now it's empty.
Okay. Yeah. So you see, Kai is in his own residence. I mean, actually, he's probably heard the commotion too, right? He saw the laser gate go up. So you think you see him outside, and he's speaking to his wife, who is what's the nationality that Hellbreakers originally were? Asen or something?
Yeah, Asen is would be the
She's a Hellbreaker, right? He's from the Japanese the Blossoms world. But she's not.
Okay. So she looks Mediterranean in some fashion, or Middle Eastern or whatever.
Yeah. So he's speaking to her, and it seems like they've maybe figured out that they're not being attacked, right? And they're just standing outside now, pointing and talking.
Yeah, I say, I call out and I say, Kai, how are the men doing?
Well, it's fine now that we know that we're not under attack. But they're all resting and bandaging up their wounds.
Good. And I look so much better than I did. Like, everything about me is probably like, it's my clothes are still dirty, but like I'm standing tall, and like my skin is fine. Like everything. Yeah.
I think after he says he's bandaged their wounds, you look different. That was fast.
Yeah. I say, I don't actually know how I want to phrase this. I nod and I say, you should know by now, Kai, that the Hellbreakers have the best technology.
It is technology. I mean, it's like magical technology. But, you know.
You should know by now, Kai, that the Hellbreakers have access to the best the spheres have to offer in the way of technology and medical care.
Oh, sure, I suppose. You just, it burns everywhere. I mean, I'm glad you're all right.
I nod.
I'll remember that next time I stub my toe. I'll just.
Yeah, and I smile and I say, we'll have to see how Dallas decides to deal with them. Nod towards the gate.
Oh, I said no, then I assume.
Of course. Did you really expect he was going to just let them all in?
No, I suppose not. But...
I think I say, I get a serious look on my face, and I say, if something does happen where they are threatened on the outside of the gate, we should do what we can to protect them.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Unless I hear a direct order from Dallas to the contrary, that should be our plan.
Yes, sir. I'm sure the guards would turn the prisms on anybody that try to kill them anyways, even if they're just outside. But definitely, I'll let the men know there's a potential situation and to stay ready.
And I say, just because we may not have the room for them inside the walls does not mean that we don't have an obligation to them.
He just nods. And then this is I'll let the men know. And turns around and heads inside to spread the word. And I think do you do anything in the immediate moments after that? Or?
No, I was planning on probably getting my clothes cleaned.
Sure. Yeah.
That's about it.
So maybe we see you head back into the barracks, and then we see a shot of Elias in that same room, sort of like is speaking frustratedly into his polyhedra. And he tosses it down and stands up, and he just walks out shaking his head, and then we see a cut of the gate. And Elias is out there talking to somebody, and the gate comes down, and a whole bunch of people come in, like just an enormous amount of people. And he is like having them. The power armored guys are like checking them for infections or stuff, whatever they're going through stuff, and probably being a little more rough than they need to be, right? We see one particular person. We zoom in on sorry, I'm trying to remember what gender they were based on the name I gave them. Where'd they go? There they are. We see a young woman with she is native. They're all native Skovrane, right? They're all and she has like this big heavy cloak on. We can't really see her face. And we see the soldiers grab somebody and kind of knock her. They move the person and it knocks her away. She sort of falls back, and then she stumbles back over here, like behind one of the barracks, and then takes a step behind something and looks to see if anybody noticed her, and then she steps away.
Okay, I definitely follow her.
We can roll to see if you see her.
Oh, okay. I thought you were describing that because I obviously saw it.
No, sorry. No, this is we're just seeing this as a camera.
Yeah. I got perception songs, so this is definitely a thing I would like to attempt.
Yeah, we can say that your barracks is nearby, right? So you can see from the window where you're washing your clothes.
Right, wherever I...
In fact, this could be your barracks, and then that could be the one she walks past, right?
Well, didn't you just say that this was where the whole scout regiment?
Yes, you're right. I suppose you would be there with them.
Yeah. Well, but I think it's fine if we describe I put my clothes in like gave them to the washerwoman or whoever it was,
Yeah.
right, who does this, and then like put on fresh clothes and just like went out to walk again.
Sure,
is probably fine.
Yeah, we can say you were going to the training yards or something. Actually,
yeah, sure.
Do we want to? Because that's kind of where she was moving, anyways.
Was she?
Yeah, she goes this direction, right? So she's walking right past the
yeah. So maybe
yard.
I see her while she's going past. Okay, yeah. Let's go for that then.
All right.
So it would be notice. So 1, 2, 3, 4 for Hellbreaker songs and perception songs.
Yes, that sounds right.
4
in the
in total. Yeah, 4 in total. Yeah.
Okay.
3 successes but a 1 on the die face.
Oh no. So let's see, I'm trying to think if anybody has an advantage here, really. I don't know. Probably not necessarily. I'm just going to do this. I think that makes sense. Oops, I didn't do greater than. I got 2 successes. So 3 technically. So we tie. So you get a little bit of what you want. You get a little bit. She gets a little bit of what she wants. Let's see. So I think you notice her, right? You see her like just as she's rounding the corner here.
Well, like, technically, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Did you get a 1 on the die of fate?
Does she? I did. It does make us tie, but it doesn't change anything about my roll. I still got 3 successes, so yeah, we tied.
Right. Yeah. Because the 1 on the die of fate means she gets something else.
That's also true. Yeah.
So she's going to.
Do I see her and then she sees me and then she like runs or something?
Yeah. So I think basically you notice her late enough that she goes around a corner. You see her. And you're like, oh, that's weird. And then basically when you get around the corner, she's gone. So you knew that she did that, right? You saw her. You noticed her.
Yep.
But she evades capture, right?
Okay.
And I think she. Let's see. I'm gonna just give her a like a one-time temporary thing called such tiny text. All right. She's got a lot of new faces as a thing she can use once. So tracking her now will be difficult because there's a lot of new people, but there is a period right now where everyone's sort of being messed with still at the gate where you might be able to locate her. And I think, that's probably the last shot we get, right? Like we see you round the corner of the barracks and she's just not there for some reason. And we see, like look left and right and can't find her. And the camera cuts to her, like, she's, I don't know, like in the branch of a tree or something, right? Like she's pretty well hidden. Like we probably see her in the shot that you're in and looking for her, but she like blends in super well. Maybe she's like ditched the cloak and like, maybe that's what it is, right? You turn the corner, you see the cloak on the ground and, but you don't see the woman. And, yeah.
Cool.
So now we can do, the end of session stuff.
So goals.
Yes. You've got debrief from our mission without implicating ourselves. You did that. Myself, I mean, more or less. So
ourselves, including the spore.
Yeah. So you get an XP for that, and then do you feel like that goal has advanced any of your traits?
Well, here's a question: did I successfully do that and to its completion? Technically, Elias is still slightly suspicious, and I also failed to.
Yeah.
Like it is the guard.
Oh, did you fail? You failed at the gate, right?
Right. Like I feel like there's going to be follow up.
Okay.
That might...
Yeah, I think that's true. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put a mark in it.
Yeah. But I feel like it might last longer than that. Whoa. Nope. How did I? Here we go. And then I got healing for my ailments. I pretty much just did that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not all the way gone, but I think resting.
I did what I could.
Right, yeah, you're basically fine now. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So, we just put a XP up here, and then that one's pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
So we don't need to worry about that. What's wrong? Okay. We can do that. Now, does that? Do you think that advanced anything? I don't know that there's anything in traits that really influence necessarily. Well, I guess being healed was also about
Part
getting
of
rid of the spores. So maybe it does have.
Maybe too close to the sun.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think that was probably the character arc that was in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Right. Sounds good to me. All right. And you get leader without being just a noble.
So I had a thought about that, at least for next time. I was gonna maybe like offer my mansion to the refugees, but I don't know if that would really come up this time. But
yeah. I think you. Yeah, you worked on it because you didn't like that guard, right? You didn't just cajole him around. You tried to like.
Yeah,
I remember we talked about that. So do that. Although that does mean that working on it next time won't get anything, right? Because it's already full, but it doesn't really matter.
How does that work again? It's like the traits that can advance beyond into arcs.
Yep, the traits have new clocks. Yeah, the goals don't. Because goals you're generally intended to try and complete within 3 sessions.
Yep.
Just to keep them moving, and then the arcs you can end whenever you want. So whenever it makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. It's still. Sweet. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I do like the way that feels to be like, here are my goals, and they're slowly filling up other traits and advancing things.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's fun.
Glad to hear it. I was hoping that'd be the case because it's obviously a lot more complicated than you killed a monster. This is the mathematical equation for your XP, but I'm hoping that it'll encourage that kind of stuff. So I'm glad.
Yep, I think I might need to refine some of these traits and figure out exactly what. There's a couple of them that I'm not sure about the wording on that I need to maybe look at again, because since we did the redo of the character in the new version too. So
yeah, feel free to tweak them whenever it's
those drive traits I think I might change, but I'll figure that for next time.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, they're a little like they're long-term goals, but they're also like very long-term, like help save the world kind of goals.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Sweet.
Awesome.
There you go. Well, thanks for jamming, David.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us, and see you guys next time.
And again.